All right. I'm gonna wait for see some more people come in, and we're gonna kick back. I'm gonna put a meets link in the in the chat. Let's see. All right. Let's see how this works. If anybody, there's the meets link I'm adding so that we can have I can give other people a chance to chat or have a conversation about any tech stuff that we want to talk about. It's going to be open for anything we've talked about in the last few live shows for us, for anybody to add to or give conversation about anything tech or anything else rather they want to talk about. Today's just going to be one of them fun uh, off the wall days where I'm not covering anything specific. We're just going to just kind of like just talk about whatever we feel like talking about that's new in the news, and what's going on out there in the tech world. So anybody has any ideas for conversation, feel free to lay them out there. um, the previous video was pretty good. Pretty good. I liked the conversation we had about all of that. And going back to the Nintendo emulation stuff that we had talked about as well. There's a lot of you know a lot of things going on for people to know about. As far as being aware of the what's going on with Amazon, what's going on with their products, what's going on in the streaming world, what's going on in the tech world, the computer world, the AI world, the video card, networking, all of that stuff. It's absolutely bonkers, and none of us can keep track of all of it. I don't care how good you are. You cannot know everything. So I could always learn from you guys, and you guys can learn from me, and we can, have a nice community and nice setup going forward. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. What's up? Nice to see you in the chat. So, we're just here to talk about tech. All we're doing is kicking back. So there's, some of the latest news I had seen today, just to kick off some stuff. What do you guys think about TikTok? I know TikTok's been really popular. There's a lot of talks about TikTok being banned in the United States. They had votes on that. They want them to sell it away from their Chinese owners. I'm not going to give an opinion for or against that. Just laying out there some of the latest news, being non-biased as much as possible, although I will show my bias in a lot of areas. For instance, in the Nintendo and in the Amazon world, where I'm not real happy with what types of things some of those companies are doing. That's kind of anti-customer. If they want people to use their products, they should be a little more pro-customer and try to help you guys out in that area. Hopefully, hopefully they do, and hopefully some of that stuff changes in the future. If not, it's good to know about these things so you can move forward in a new and better way in your life as far as what you want to do. Um, there's lots of tech news going on out there. Lots of new emulators coming out, just like I had predicted, and in a very short amount of time for Nintendo. There is lots of ways for you to. There's new ways for you to play games faster on older machines that are coming to light. So those are some tech things that are coming, that are on the market, and there's a lot of new cool things that are going to be happening for people, for all of us. I'm hoping for the phone market to make some changes, because the last few years we've seen phones not have a lot of upgradability. So the cell phone market is something that I would like to see switch up into, more upgradability, more phones with more options, because they've taken away a lot of things like micro SD cards, removable batteries. And if you don't know, laws changed in the EU, so phones are going to be required to have removable batteries over there. So that could change a lot of things for us here as well. The newest Samsung phone, I think, is going to have a removable battery because of the law changes over there, which will trickle down to the United States as well, where I live. So in the UK, we can see laws there have an effect on things here, as well as laws here could have an effect on things over there. So it's good to know about things that are going on worldwide, because they can play a part in what's happening tech-wise in your particular location in the world. Because there'll be certain products maybe you won't be able to get because of certain laws. So there'll be phones that don't have removable batteries, and those phones won't be available in the UK. So those are, little things like that are things to be aware of, to look at the world market. It's kind of interesting when it comes to the phone market too. A lot of phones actually it's crazy because we don't know about them here in the United States, but a lot of phones get released early. They're in the UK or in China, Asia, whatnot, in other countries. A lot of times 6 months before they're even available here in the United States, or available at all. So there's a lot of phones that are actually available in other markets that aren't available here, or come available much earlier in other markets, while some phones come available sometimes earlier here. So too, so it's kind of an odd thing that happens with the phone market. So that, being said, if you guys missed my last video, it was all about the Amazon Fire Sticks, why you shouldn't be buying a new Fire Stick right now, why you should be looking at other options instead. There's a lot of tracking going on, as well as Amazon's changing their OS, so you won't be able to install third-party apps in the future. What day exactly that happens, it's hard to say. And it'll probably be kind of a gradual effect over the period of a year on their new products that start to hit the market, and then some updates on the new-ish products that are on the market already. That will probably happen. Nobody knows exactly for sure how fast it will be implemented, but it's already in some products like the new Echo Show, and some of the automotive Amazon products. They're implementing this new OS that is basically their own operating system that they completely control. That way they control every aspect of it. They're wanting to push a lot more ads to you all the time too, so that's definitely something to be aware of. I did put a Google Meets link in the chat description for anybody who is interested in jumping in and giving an opinion on any of this stuff that I'm talking about, because as the things happen globally, technology changes all the time. So it's good for me to hear from other people and get their opinion, so that it broadens my mind as well, so that we can all try to make the best decisions, including myself, going forward. Let's see what we got going on. Looking over here. So a lot of stuff going on in the gaming world too, in the game consoles. Gaming's changing a lot as far as what you should decide to purchase for a gaming console, or what you should game on, what you would like to game on. Just a lot of research has to go into it as far as what kind of games you want to play, whether you want to go on a Android unit, or whether you want to go with something like a Steam Deck or a Windows based handheld device, or whether you want to go with whatever new console is on the market. There's so many options out there for everybody that really look into a lot of options before you make your decision, because it's going to be a kind of a big purchase for a lot of people, to where you don't want to have to be purchasing a whole bunch of multiple multiple devices. I know I don't. I don't want to be purchasing multiple devices. I don't know about you guys, but depending on what kind of games you want to play will determine that. Um, so a lot of people were asking me about what kind of boxes that I would recommend going with. And in the last video, if you're not going to go with a Fire TV product, and I said I would do a separate video just on that. So the I am going to definitely be doing a separate video on that in the future. But there are lots of boxes available. When it comes to the budget area, the cheapest, most budget device right now on the market is probably the ONN box from Walmart. That particular box, if you have a Walmart around you where you can purchase it, or you can order it from Walmart in your area in the United States, it's actually under $20, which is an absolute remarkable price. So I would definitely recommend that be an option for you if you're looking for a budget device and you don't want to spend a lot of money. Maybe you don't have a lot of money. So that's kind of a starting point. You go from there and you kind of build up depending on the type of box or the type of device you really want to use. And the OWN box is definitely a great option for that. I would highly recommend the OWN box myself as an option. Now, is any box perfect? There is no perfect box. They all have their pros and cons. Some boxes do some things, some others don't. Some boxes do a whole bunch more, but they're also a whole bunch more money. So again, there is no real perfect option for you out there. Some boxes run a version of Android that is a mobile OS as opposed to a TV type of OS like the Google TV or the Android TV OS. So those are things you also got to think about. Well, what do I really want to do? Well, maybe your TV's got an OS where you can run some of the TV type of apps, and then you can get a mobile OS box to run your third-party underground apps if that's what you choose to do. And those are, generally speaking, there's a lot of them available and they're pretty reasonably priced. But again, the exact boxes that I would recommend, that's for a whole nother segment and a whole nother show to really dive in deep into those boxes. If anybody has a recommendation, leave a comment down below or throw some information in the chat what you think is a good box, because there are a lot of them out there. Just to name a few, the MeCool boxes, the Formular boxes are good boxes. Obviously, the NVIDIA Shield is still a box a lot of people tout as being the best or one of the best boxes out there. So that is kind of a pricey one. Those are all options for you to pick from depending on your budget and where you land as far as what your needs are in that area. Personally, I think the NVIDIA Shield, if you're just looking for a streaming only device, I think that's a little overkill for most people. It was originally made for gaming. It really wasn't made to be only a streaming device. So that's something to think about. And it's getting a little older and a little long in the tooth in my opinion. For my taste, I would go for something that's maybe a little newer device. That being said, they are doing updates continuously on the Amazon, not the Amazon, the NVIDIA Shield. So it is getting updates, but it's got its issues as well as everything else out there. Now, like I said, there is no perfect choice. There's no perfect box that you can just say, this is the perfect box, buy this one, it's a great price, and it does everything. And you can't have the perfect price with a box that does everything. It's really hard enough to even find a box that really kind of does everything, to be honest with you, at this point in time. With the way the market is, there's so many options. Yeah, and everybody's talked about the NVIDIA Shield since the beginning of streaming. I mean, it's been reviewed and talked about by just about everybody out there. While at the same time, there's obviously a lot of other options for people. Let's take a look at some boxes. Let's go ahead and let's see. What we're going to do here is I am going to let's go to let's take a look. Let's just take a quick look at Amazon and let's do a little search for some Android boxes. And so also stick around because there is a free video game I'm going to talk about that's coming out tomorrow, free on Epic. So if you don't know about that game, go ahead and take a look at Epic and you'll see that there's a really cool kind of a big title that's going to be available. It's a fun game and you get it for free. So how can you resist getting it for free, right? Definitely free is for me, that's for sure. So let's see here. Android TV boxes. Let's just take a look at Android TV boxes for a minute. Let's take a look at what Amazon has when we go to Android TV boxes, and we're going to start seeing some stuff. You know, you're going to start seeing a lot of different specs in here. I've done this before on some of my live shows, gone on to Amazon and kind of given my thought on some of these, even though I haven't actually tried a bunch of them. But by looking at the specs, you can kind of see whether it's even worth trying or at all. So these are some things to look at. And I'm just using Amazon just as an example. I'm by no means trying to say, oh, you know, definitely buy at Amazon, because there's a lot of options out there to purchase from, depending on the user. Let's see. Check out the first one. No, I haven't ordered that gamepad yet. I am ordering a new gamepad that I've been looking at, though. But I'll do a video on that once I get it. I'll do an actual review on that gamepad because it looks pretty good. I'm actually going to be getting it from Newegg. But let's see, Android 11, this one's Android 11, Netflix, Google certified. So when it says Netflix, Google certified, that means it's going to be the Android tvOS or Google tvOS. So you can take a look at that and you can know that you're going to be getting that type of operating system if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you want. Now, I haven't particularly used this brand before, so I'm not going to turn around and say that it's great. Or bad or good either way. It is $100, so you would expect a pretty good box for that kind of price, right? I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of money. Right off the bat, we're looking at 32 gig of storage, which is more than enough for anybody. 32 gig. I think most people are fine with 16. I wouldn't get less than 16 these days, but I think the majority of everybody would be fine with 16. 32 is definitely nice. 4 gig of RAM, and you've got the TV support, Google Assistant, Chromecast, 4K, Dolby Vision, AV1, Dolby Digital. So this is pretty good with the Wi-Fi 6. So that's not bad at all. And you can take a look at the other specs to really kind of narrow it down, what it has in it, processor wise. It's a pretty standard chip, an S905X4. So this is an Amlogic chip. Those are good because they're solid, reliable, and very compatible. So this would be something at $100 price point is a little pricey in my opinion. So I probably wouldn't buy it at $100. I mean, if it was down more, maybe at the $60 level, I would be much more big on this particular device. But those are good specs as far as if I were looking at a box to actually purchase. You got something here called an 8K Android TV box with 128 gig. It's got a gigabit. Usually these things are very overhype them when they say, 8K and everything. A lot of this is very, very overhyped. This is a $79.99 box. If we click on it, we're going to get some information. So we're getting some information here. Hey, Terriel, Garrett, welcome. So as you look at it, and you go down here and look at the information, it should give you some specs. And if it's not giving you all the specs, like this is an RK3566 chipset. That is not as good as the Amlogic in my opinion. I'm not saying it's terrible, but this particular unit has a lot of RAM and a lot of storage according to what they're saying. So that's really good. And so the remote has quite a bit of buttons on it as well. Whether you like that remote, that's all kind of personal preference when it comes to personal, the person. So that's something to think about. This is probably running, considering the price and the storage, this is probably running your standard mobile Android operating system, especially since they're advertising it as 8K on here. It's not particularly, saying that it's the Android TV OS on it. But this would be something to do a little more research on. Right off the bat, here's one called a Transpeed. This one's a $35 box, right? That's pretty cheap, 64 gig, 4 gig of RAM. So that's pretty, RK3528 chipset. That's a pretty cheap box. So that's a real budget box right there. That's something you would want to do some more of a deep dive before you decided to go into something that cheap. So it's like, looking into these boxes, you can kind of look through. I'm more of a fan of the Amlogic chipsets. They've been really reliable to me. That doesn't necessarily mean that some of these other chipsets won't work good. Some of them have bad versions, some of them have good versions of their chipsets. It's really a lot of time to look through them to find out. Now here's a nice MeCool box. This is a 2 gig, 16 gig, and these are certified, Google, Netflix certified, etc., etc. If you're into that sort of thing. I know that always a lot of people seem to really like to have the box be a certified box. So Skull said that the first one looked good. He said he's heard good things on that one. So, I mean, that was just a couple of boxes. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go through every box through the whole line, because that, obviously you could spend all night looking through boxes, and that would get a little bit, boring. In other words. So, yeah. So I'm looking at some of these controllers that are out there today look pretty cool too for the gaming. So the I'm not those aren't what I'm ordering, but the one I'm getting will be I'll be doing a video on it to show you guys after I see if it's any good. And I'll either tell you guys if it was good or not good after I get it. It looks good to me on paper, but sometimes you never know until you actually get it in your hands and you get a chance to look it over. So that's something to be aware of. Let's see here. So yeah, so that is definitely something to be aware of at the end of the day for all of you to know about. Let's see what the chat, anything going on in the chat. So it was kind of a slow day. I just wanted to kind of test out my, trying to do my show with a Google Meets and try to, have some people on. That's one of the main reason I was going live today, just to, talk a little bit of tech, go live, test things out, see how things were running, and try to make sure I'm ready for some more when there's really some more active news out there that I really want to dive into. Going forward, there's so much stuff always going on. It's absolutely nuts. So it just depends on Depends on the news day whether or not there's something exciting that you're excited about. But more and more people are putting information out about these Amazon devices, and it's absolutely nuts. I don't know exactly what the future is going to hold for all of that, but I do know that I think everybody should look into getting something different, whatever that might be. That'll be up to you to decide, whatever ends up being the best for you. So, um, Teriel, did you want to add to the conversation? You seem to be muted. So I'm not sure. Not sure. But we got some cool stuff on the horizon that I'm going to be working on too. Is I got a review that's going to be coming up on my TP link as far as networking goes. If you guys are interested in networking, there is some videos coming up on that. I've got some videos coming up on my router running pfSense. I'm going to be doing some videos on that. I'm going to be doing some more videos on about NASes and some videos on Plex and etc. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, definitely subscribe and hit up the channel and check the Telegram group, because there's going to be some good information in there as well that I can't put on here in the future as well. And so, for instance, I'm going to be talking about the importance of your network and building your network. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that. For instance, like this particular device right here. This is one of the things about this device. That's a Wi-Fi 6E. And people are going to be like, oh, Wi-Fi 6E. Wi-Fi 6E is, well, it's been out, right? And, it's all about making sure that you're not bottlenecking yourself with your internet coming in. So the ports on this Wi-Fi 6E mesh kit is 2.5 gig. That's really important on not bottlenecking your network. One of the other things too going on with the network is that my network switches and the network router itself is all 2.5 gig. So the entire network is going to be 2.5 gig. Because I want to be ready to be able to run 2 gig internet, because I'm running 1 gig internet now and my network is 1 gig. And so I could be bottlenecking myself a little bit and not even realizing it right now at this moment. So going up to the new router that I'm going to be installing, which will be running on pfSense, that's going to be a pretty big upgrade, because I'm running a TP-Link router right now. So I'm going to be running the pfSense router, and I'm going to be running... which pfSense is, if you don't know, it's an open source software. It's actually an operating system specifically to be for routers. And I'm going to be running that on this device. So this is all metal, and this is a heat sink. This is a full-on PC. On the back, over on this side, that's all 2.5 gig Ethernet ports on it. This is going to be running this is going to be the router for the network. And what people don't realize is inside here, this is a full PC. It's got upgradable RAM slots. It's got an NVMe slot. And it's also got a SATA port. You could actually run a couple of hard drives. You could run any operating system you want. Some of you might not even realize you could actually even make Windows a router if you wanted to. There's a lot of options out there. But pfSense is going to be a very good router, and for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of security features and a lot of certain things that it'll do that a lot of your routers out there, even the expensive gaming routers, just won't do. And by keeping the routers separate, keeping it a 2.5 gigahertz and keeping it a really fast, this is a newer generation Intel processor in this, keeping it a really fast router like that, it's going to be good for a lot of years down the road. And then if I want to upgrade my Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi 7, this is Wi-Fi 6, but if I wanted to upgrade this kit to the Wi-Fi 7 version instead of the 6E, then I can. And then I've got myself an upgrade path. A lot of people would be like, well, why don't you go ahead and go to Wi-Fi 7? I mean, that's the newest standard. There's just not a lot of devices that are Wi-Fi 7 right now. For instance, my phone, a lot of my streaming boxes, a lot of the stuff you buy out there right now, there's very few devices that are actually Wi-Fi 7. And usually if they are, they're a little more of the on the pricey end. So right now I would say we're probably about a year away from really Wi-Fi 7 being something that is more widely used, even though it's been out for roughly half a year, I think, right now, if I remember correctly, when it kind of hit. And they didn't really have a complete standard set on it at that time either. So there's a lot happening in that particular area. That being said, though, on the other end of the performance area, Wi-Fi 7, it's really, really promising. The speed differences are more than double, if not triple, in a lot of cases. And it's absolutely phenomenal, the speed that some people are able to get out of Wi-Fi 7. It's really, really, really remarkable. So for me, I'll be switching to Wi-Fi 7 at some point down the line when I decide to go ahead and go that route. And I won't have to change my router. I won't have to adjust my network settings. I won't have to reprogram a new router for my network. All I'll have to do is plug in a new mesh kit and have it named the same Wi-Fi name that I previously had, and all my devices in the house are going to talk to it and connect up. So the other thing is AI. AI is cropping up everywhere. So some of my videos, I'm going to be doing a whole series on AI. I have scheduled to start coming up, different AI tools that are on the internet, tools that I'm using to make money. AI is definitely something that's huge in being used by everybody not to make money, but can be used by almost everybody to make money if they learn the tools and learn what's capable. And it's unbelievable. Every week it seems like there's new stuff and new innovations and updates and things that are happening in the AI area. I can't keep up with it. So it's something that is just remarkable. You can literally make a song, have AI make a song by just telling it you want it to make a song in the style of a certain artist using an artist's voice, and it can recreate that voice. And you can have it make pictures just by telling it what kind of picture you want, and it'll make a realistic looking picture. It'll look like a real person or a real house. You can even have it make a person talking, and it's an artificially generated AI person. It's phenomenal what all that new stuff can do. So it's really, really crazy. So yeah, I think my testing went pretty well on my equipment that I wanted to do tonight. Hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun, maybe learned a few things with my rambling on about technology and et cetera, et cetera. I'm just trying to learn myself some new things and play around with YouTube and get back into having some fun in that area because I'm blessed with a lot of technology and a lot of capabilities that I can do. And not everybody has that, unfortunately. And I like to share the knowledge with people so they can try to make a smart decision on what they purchase so that they don't end up buying something that was a bad choice and wasting money as well. Because I've been down that road too. I've bought plenty of products and been like, why did I buy this? It sucks. So, no need to do that. All right. Well, I'm gonna head on out of here for tonight, and you guys all have a great evening, and I'll see you in the next show. And keep your eyes and ears open for the next time I go live or the next time I put some good information out. You guys have a good one, and bye bye.